Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Jordan here. I'm so excited to be here at Apprentice Hall. I'm getting ready for my big talk with Disney programs, and I just can't wait to see you all and hear what you have to say, and hopefully I'll get to share some words of wisdom and maybe a song.
One of my mentors and dear friends to really kick things off for us. If you've been to some of our career spotlights, you may have been to his career spotlight. He's a creative director over at Disney Vacation Club, and like I said, college program alum, a mentor I've known since my college program. So please give it up for Ryan March, everybody!
Thank you, Allie. Good morning. Yeah, so my college program was in 1992. How many of you were alive in 1992? Very well. Terrible question. So I paddled Davy Crockett's Explorer canoes through the Magic Kingdom through the hot summers of 1992 and 1993. I am now, as Ali said, a creative director at Disney Vacation Club, where I have the privilege of doing everything from producing a printed magazine to creating a YouTube channel lineup of programming to producing live events like the annual Disney Vacation Club member cruise. And what all of those things have in common is that they give me the privilege of spending time with some extraordinarily talented people, which is, of course, what we are here to do today. But I am not going to be the person interviewing the gentleman whose handsome face appears on every screen in this room. That honor goes to the friend I would like to bring out now. And I want to spend a couple minutes allowing you to get to know this guy a little bit, because if I can impart one bit of wisdom that I've learned in my nearly 25-year Disney career, is that it's less important what you do and more important how you do it. And this gentleman, the way he goes about his work is an example to all of us. He is one of the most trusted musical arrangers and vocal coaches and musical directors on Broadway, but he's also just an extraordinary human. So please welcome my friend, Benjamin Rahula.
That's so nice.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So before we meet our special guest today, I want to talk to you about a career milestone you've had. You've done a lot of extraordinary stuff in your career. You and I have collaborated over the past few years. Our first project together was a Disney Vacation Club member cruise adaptation of Disney Princess the Concert, a touring production that you co-created.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you.
And what I love about that show is that you, as not only its musical director, but its host, share some very personal stories, and you talk about your own childhood and the impact that Disney animated films have had on your life, which makes this career milestone such a pinch me moment. Can you share with everyone here your role on the Disney film Wish?
Yes. I got to work as a vocal coach and be in the recording studio with Ariana DeBose, the voice of Asha, during her recording sessions. And so, so getting to be on the other side of it, it was literally, I was at the piano and Ariana was next to me at her mic in the room, in the booth, and the other side was the writers, Julia Michaels and Ben Rice, and the directors. And getting to be, we all know that video of Jodie Benson and Howard Ashman, right, where how it's like, if you just sing that a little quieter, and she's like, okay. I got to be that for a second. Not that I was as good as Howard, no one is. But that was really crazy. I was like, I am stepping into my biggest fantasy right now. And I didn't screw it up, which was great.
And so much of that job is about making the artist comfortable.
Comfortable, sure.
And I mentioned at the top that it's not just what you do, but it's the way you do it. Obviously, you have tremendous musical talent and technical know-how, which is clearly a prerequisite for what you do. But the way you do it, I think, is special. And I'd like to share two examples. Last year, we collaborated on an original show called Disney Hits Live. And one of the performers in the show was Disney legend Paige O'Hara, who you all may know was the voice of Belle in Walt Disney Animation Studios' Beauty and the Beast. I had reached out to Paige and invited her to be part of the show. And while she agreed, she was terrified because it had been years since she had performed on a stage. So we turned to Benji, and Benji went to Paige's home and spent days getting her comfortable with these arrangements. Without that, it simply would not have worked. Then fast forward to Barcelona, Spain, where we're about to take off on the cruise. We're rehearsing in ballroom space at the hotel. And I got to sit behind Benji and watch him leading this rehearsal. And what was extraordinary is he had his sheet music on a tablet. And it wasn't about Paige adapting her voice to his arrangement. It was the other way around. He was on the fly rearranging the music during rehearsal to perfectly fit her so that she was comfortable. And I was sitting there with Susan Egan, who was the voice of Meg in Hercules and the original Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. And I said, he's amazing. And she said something I'll never forget. She said, Ben is a musical seamstress. He slips the gown of his arrangement on you, and then one thread at a time, he customizes it to you and tailors it to you. It is such a special approach, and it's unique. Where does that approach come from for you?
Oh, goodness. That's so kind. Susan, that's so nice you said that. Oh. I think the most important thing to me is the relationships with these singers. And, the thing I say to everyone, and especially to Paige at that time, was, sing with the voice you have today, not the voice you had yesterday, not the one you want tomorrow. And so when I sit with these people I care about and try to put music on them the way that I do on Jeremy too, it's just an expression of love. And I listen to them and I think, here's the part of your voice I love the most. This is what we're going to highlight. And here's the part of your voice I can tell this part's a little scary for you. So I try to just make any arrangement I do for someone feel like it's like kind of a warm hug on the parts of their voice that show them the most beautifully. Yeah.
I love that. Well, now you're going to give a warm hug to the person who's much better looking than me who will sit in this chair. So why don't you introduce our special guest?
Okay, yes. So the friend we've all been waiting to meet. So I've been his music director and toured with him over the past 12 years. We've been all over America to England and Scotland, and we even crossed the Atlantic Ocean on the Disney Magic 10 years ago. I was in the hospital with him when he and his wife, when she was giving birth to their first child. And thus, I'm lucky enough to be Uncle Benny to their daughter Clara, who's here this week. It's her first trip. It's so exciting. It's like, oh God, when she was talking to Ariel, I was like, oh, this is the best day of my life. But he most recently starred on Broadway in the titular role of Jay Gatsby in The Great Gatsby. Yeah. And he's about to star in Floyd Collins at Lincoln Center. We love that. He was a series regular on the CW Supergirl. Yeah. NBC Smash. Disney's Tangled, the series. And he recurs on Amazon's Has-Been Hotel. Okay. This is good. This is very informative for me. I'm like, what's the whiz? He's best known for his Tony and Grammy-nominated portrayal of Jack Kelly in Newsies. We've heard of it, great. Right before Gatsby, he was starring as Seymour Krelborn in Little Shop of Horrors in New York. Miss Alan Menken. His film credits include the last 5 years opposite Anna Kendrick, Joyful Noise with Queen Latifah, Dolly Parton, and Keke Palmer. It Ain't the Stallion. American Son with Kerry Washington, yes. The Queen, and Spinning Gold, which is he was so fabulous in that. His other Broadway credits include Bonnie and Clyde, West Side Story, oh yeah, Waitress, yep, American Son, and Rock of Ages, where he made his debut. And I love this line in his bio. It says, Jeremy's concerts and cabaret shows have won raves and awards worldwide. That's what I do with him. And he's the lead singer of his rock band, Age of Madness. So without further ado, yes, Age of Madness. Oh, yes! Oh, his friend Michael would be very happy. All right, please help me welcome, without further ado, Jeremy Jordan!
Hey.
Welcome to the
You guys
party,
signed
Jeremy.
up late? Or you just didn't want to wake up at 8 in the
I think it
morning?
was a lottery system, honestly. Was it a lottery system? Yeah.
Oh, a
So-
lottery.
So these people could have
I was
entered
ready to
first.
make
You never
jokes.
know. Jeremy, how's your week in Orlando going?
Lovely. Well, we've been here for what, 3 days now? How
Yeah.
do I open this? Hold on. It's not gonna be
Do you want me to hold the
disaster.
microphone?
Nope. I will do it myself. It's still happening.
His daughter's the same. Yeah. We're off to a great start, friends.
Oh, I just did a spit take. That would have been iconic.
Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. Jeremy, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas. Any Texas people out here? All right.
Yeah, a few Texans.
Yes, okay. It's a big state.
I love it. And how'd you get into performing? Were you a singer first? What was the vibe?
I was. Did we use vibe back then? No. I was a singer. I was a choir boy all the way from elementary school, all the way up through high school. I thought like, oh, maybe I'll do something with this for my career, and took a little bit of a different turn.
Yeah, you had done some plays, and I remember you told me you got cast in the musical The Fantastics, and that was sort of a big change for you. It was an experience that changed how you saw theater. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I was when I was a sophomore or junior in high school, I'm not really sure. I was auditioning at the local community theater for a show called The Fantastics, which is a musical, and I was auditioning for like the lead guy, whatever,
Matt.
obviously. They ended up casting it older, like some adults playing young people. I was like, okay, well, whatever. But the director really liked me, and so he cast me as the mute. And I said, excuse me, you know that I sing. But he saw something in me, I guess, that I didn't really know, because at the time, like, I'd never really acted. I mean, I'd been in plays, but I wasn't really acting. I was just giving line readings and making faces. And when I was the mute, I wasn't allowed to speak or do anything but listen and sort of react. And when through the process of doing that, it sort of unlocked that bug within me, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, this is the right path for me.
Yeah, I love that.
I literally had to stop singing in order to start singing as a career.
Like Ariel, he had to lose his voice in order
How
I'll
dare
do
you
anything
come
to
up with
talk
that
about The
so
Little Mermaid.
quickly. How dare you pull that out of your hat?
Thank you so much. Where did you go to college?
I went to Ithaca College in New York. Yeah, upstate New York.
Yeah, what'd you major in?
I majored in musical theater.
Wow. Do we have any musical theater majors?
Yes, we got a few. What's up, y'all? I didn't realize musical theater was like a whole thing. I was like, well, I like to sing, and I enjoy acting, and I guess if I want to do both of them, I should be in musical theater. And they're like, musical theater is a whole other world. And I said, okay, let's try it.
And he never left.
That's true.
Well, tell me, there was a point in your college career where your voice really grew and changed. And will you talk to me about, you ended up switching voice teachers at one point. Tell me about that.
I was always told that I was a baritone all through high school and early college.
I know, right?
I know. I'm becoming more of a baritone in my older years, but I kept losing my voice, and I was like, what is going on? Because I had a pretty big range, so I could hit the notes, but I was just pushing myself. And then my voice teacher in college was a little bit, we'll say, tricky. And so I was like, I'm gonna switch teachers, and I wanted to get this one guy who was a tenor, and I wanted to try to sing a little bit higher. And within like a couple months, I was singing an octave above what I used to sing. And I was like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to sing, and healthily and wonderfully. And it was really nice to be able to feel like I could be what would sound like I was really supposed to sound and meant to sound. Because I think growing up in South Texas specifically, probably Florida's a lot of the same, although maybe it's a little bit better these days. This was a long time ago. I was very cognizant about projecting masculinity and trying to pitch my voice down when I talked to people and when I sang, because I was like, well, I'm singing, so that's already like, you shouldn't be singing, you should be out playing sports. Which I do enjoy sports too. But and so I think that was one of the reasons I was like, well, I must be a baritone. I'm obviously not a tenor. And then I finally got to college. I was like, oh, these are my people. I'm safe around them. I can speak as high and as lovely as I want.
And not too long after that, you made your big move to New York City. That would have been 2007?
2007, moved to New York City, to a tiny apartment in Queens, where I lived for a couple years with my good friend. And I started cater waitering at the U.S. Open.
Casual.
And did some catering jobs. Hated every second of it. It was like, for me, it was like I was just constantly being ignored. I was like, here's your food, here's your food. Look at me. And they're like, take food, move away. I was like, I'm invisible! I just want to cry. And then I taught music to little kids for a little while. And then I luckily got onto the stage pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, but while we're thinking about that, any advice for people moving to the big city for the first time?
Yeah, for moving to the big city for the first time, I mean, Ben would say save money.
Yeah.
And I luckily did have some money saved. When I was in college, somebody ran their car into me. Not into me, into my car. I was in the car,
Still
uninjured,
scary.
whatever.
Oh.
But it wasn't really scary, but it totaled my car. And so it was towards the end of my senior year, so I just like went carless for a few months and saved all that money up, and that was it. That was how I was paid rent for the first few months. But I mean, in terms of advice, I mean, it's really just about putting yourself out there, and knowing who you are, and really just confidently moving forward and trying everything and going out for anything, whether you're an actor or for any job. It's like, just go out there, put yourself out there, because you never know what's going to say yes to you, or what direction it's going to lead you into. You may know exactly what you want to do, or you think you want to do. You may think you know what other people want from you, but most certainly you don't. And most certainly life will throw you curveballs. And sometimes those curveballs are like really cool and interesting and exciting. And I think you just have to really follow your gut and follow that path.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you moved to New York May 2007. When did you book your first Broadway show?
I booked my first Broadway show in the very beginning of 2009. I was in Rock of Ages on Broadway.
80s rock.
Yeah, 80s rock. I was totally inappropriate for me to be in that show. I was, I was a classically trained tenor, singing like hard rock and grinding my voice down. But I was a swing, so I basically covered, understudied all the roles on stage, and I sat off stage waiting for someone to fall ill or hurt themselves, and then I would spring into action. But I was like just enough to where I could like slot into all the various characters. So that was another example of like how I had no business being any one character in that show, but I was good enough to kind of like slot in the middle of everything.
I saw him as the lead the day after the Tonys, and actually, you were really, really great. But I mean, I guess maybe you didn't have a voice the next day. It wasn't my problem. I don't know. No, you were so good.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like pushed myself way too hard during that show, because I was trying to sound like the lead guy who like has a rock and roll voice, and so I could make those sounds, but it was definitely not to my benefit the next day.
Oh my gosh. So what do you remember about your actual Broadway debut, like the day you went on the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was called. I had like a day of notice, and I was called in because I understood the ensemble too, but my very first time to step onto Broadway stage was as the lead in this show, and I'd had 2 rehearsals. I think we'd gotten halfway through the first act. I mean, I knew everything because I'd sit in the back and sort of mouth it and do my own sort of thing, but I had never actually gotten to do it out on stage, much less with anybody. And I had like a little script off stage, and I'd run off between scenes and study it and run back on and run off and study it and run back on. And it was really kind of brilliant. I had a lot of friends there that showed up, and it went off relatively without a hitch. And what was kind of crazy is that since I had been a swing, nobody in the cast had ever actually heard me sing. And so I remember the curtain call, everybody was sort of gathering backstage, and Amy Spanger, who was playing the lead, she was like, "Who are you? Where did you come from?" I was like, "It's just me." And it was just kind of really cool to like finally feel like respected and accepted in this group that I just felt like, what am I doing here?
Oh my gosh.
You know?
A star is born. Gosh, okay, so this was sort of your next show was like kind of a a jump up actually. You went from being a swing off stage to you were then a 2-show-a-week Tony
Yes.
in West Side Story. But during that transitional period is when you got cast in the film Joyful Noise. Will you tell me how that circumstance happened? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that same show, my first time on Broadway, the first time I stepped on stage, the writer-director of Joyful Noise was in the audience and was like, "Who's this young, fresh meat?" No, that's not what he said. But he was apparently impressed, and he had just written this show, and he was like, "That's exactly what I'm looking for." And like a year later, I got a call, and I did a reading at his house, and then I got my first film, which was kind of wild.
Incredible.
Got to work with Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah and Kiki Palmer, and it was really cool. I learned a lot of great lessons from them.
What is any of your favorite memories working with those ladies?
I learned a lot from people like Dolly and Queen Latifah, like how to be when you are a big name and how to treat other people around you, because you hear all these stories about famous people. Just that was the opposite of my experience, and so it was a really good role model lesson from them. I also got to sing with Dolly Parton, so.
So good. And you got to sing with Kiki. Kiki actually did our first ever cabaret show in New York. Kiki was the special guest. Still with her mom at the time. It was a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I knew her back when.
Yeah, so then this next chapter of your life, this is where Jeremy's story gets a little cuckoo crazy. So November 2010 to November 2012. So in this period, Jeremy leads the out-of-town tryout of Bonnie and Clyde in Florida. He leads the out-of-town tryout for Newsies in New Jersey. He opens and closes Bonnie and Clyde on Broadway within a month. The movie Joyful Noise opens in theaters. He then opens Newsies on Broadway. He gets cast as Jimmy Collins in season 2 of the TV show Smash, does double duty all summer filming Smash and Newsies until it gets too wild. He leaves Newsies and then immediately gets married to his wife. And then he continues filming season 2 of Smash. How did you survive all of that?
Well, at the end of it, I got to go to Hawaii
Oh, there you
on
go.
my honeymoon, so it was like, just stay the course. But no, I think I didn't really know any of that was going to happen. You do one thing, and then like, oh, knock, knock, here's the next thing. Okay, guess I'll go on to that. Knock, knock, here's another thing. Oh, well, I'm kind of still doing this thing, but let me just try to also do that too. Okay, and then at one point, I was doing a show at Paper Mill at night, which is in New Jersey, and then going to New York during the day to do rehearsal for another thing. They're next to each other, but it's still different states. And I just went with the flow. I mean, there was one point where I was doing Bonnie and Clyde on Broadway, and they had announced that Newsies was going to come to Broadway that same season. And I was like, I just did this out of town. And I had this, when you sign up for Broadway, you basically sign up for a year contract. And if the show's open, you stay in the show. I mean, you get outs down the line, but Newsies was opening in 2 months. And I was just prepared to lose my dream role that I wouldn't get to do on Broadway to somebody else. And then, oh shucks, Bonnie and Clyde closed, and couldn't sell any tickets.
Yeah.
So I know it was sad, but I also got to do Newsies, which was like the role of a lifetime for me, and sort of got me kicked off to all the other things and set me a part of the Disney family.
Yeah. Well, let me talk about Newsies. So,
Okay.
I mean, before your involvement even, the film was part of your childhood, right?
Yeah, I was obsessed with the film. It came out in 1991 with Christian Bale, who still refuses to tell people he did a musical.
But we all know.
And if I ever meet him, I'll tell him. And I was obsessed with it because it was something that was just portrayed. I was 7 or 8 at the time, and it was portrayed young boys confidently dancing and singing and feeling empowered to do those sorts of things in a world where I did not feel empowered to do those sorts of things. And it wasn't that my family ever held me back. They were always very supportive, but I just was not in that kind of environment. And so I wore that VHS tape to death. You guys know what a VHS tape is? Incredible.
Vintage.
What's funny is that I love that movie so much that, you know how kids have a stage voice, they're like, you know, when they get on stage, they're like, and now I talk like this because I'm a kid. I grew up in South Texas, right? My stage voice was a strong New York accent. I mean, I had to beat it out of myself. That's how much I love Newsies.
Yeah.
So like when I got the audition we did like a reading first, like a year or two before. I just knew what to do. And I saw the script and I was like, I get it. And I've never felt that way before, and I doubt that I will feel that way again. It was just the perfect moment in marriage of person to part, and I walked in, and it was just one of those things. I was like, this is mine. I'm just gonna do this little formality and run away with it, and it happened, and it was just serendipitous in that way.
Yeah. Beautiful.
You know me, I'm like not that confident
No,
about
correct.
this.
And you're more of an introvert, and Jack he's a leader. And I feel like that really seeped into your personality. But what was it like? Because you really became a leader of that company.
Yeah, I had never really experienced, I wouldn't say that I was like a follower, but I kind of always just did my own thing. I didn't go with the flow. I just kind of laid back. And playing a character like that, which was this leader of this group of newsboys that starts a rebellion, for those of three of you that don't know. And I had to sort of embody that, and it really did sort of become a part of my personality after that. A lot of the young kids in the show had never done Broadway before. Some of them hadn't even done a theater before. They were dancers, and they would come to me, and I would, you know, sort of be their voice when they didn't know how or feel that they were being heard. And then I sort of took that with me everywhere I went afterwards, even like the last show that I just did, you know. Early on in the process, especially with the younger people, I would always make it a point to be like, if there's anything you need, or if you ever need an advocate, or if you're feeling a certain way about anybody in the cast or on the creative team, like, please come to me and I will not judge you. I will be here for you 100%, because it's like, I don't think I had a lot of that growing up, and the little bit that I did, I clung to, because it was such a lifeline for someone like me that like didn't always have the most confident voice growing up. So yeah, that Jack Kelly taught me a lot.
Yeah, and you've stayed like that. You've stayed an advocate for the people in your show since then. It's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. You know what? Have you all seen the live capture of Newsies that's on Disney Plus? It was on Netflix. Yeah. So this was about 3 years after you left the show. So tell them a little bit about this.
4 years to the date.
Oh gosh. Okay, tell them a little bit about the circumstances and what was going on in your life while that was there.
Yeah, I was on a TV show called Supergirl, and we were filming in Canada. And, yeah, I knew there was going to be some Canadians. Thank you. Yes. How y'all feeling? Good. It's nice and warm down here, isn't it? I got asked to do it, and I asked if there could be as many of the original cast to come back and do it as well, because they were going to just slot me into the tour with all the tour kids, which is great, but I was like, I was going to have like 4 days of rehearsal to professionally film this show, and I wanted like some comfort, so we got a lot of the original cast to come back, and sort of just dropped right back into the character. 4 years later, I had a few days of rehearsal, and I sort of flew in and donned the old hat and shaved twice because it was growing in thicker, and yeah, it was wild. I mean, we would film, you know, individual scenes each day, and then at the end we did a live performance in front of an audience, which was the first time we ran through the whole show. So it was a little terrifying. Ben was there, but it went off without a hitch. And I think what's been really amazing is that, well, it's kept my sort of relevancy alive with the young people, because I was like, it's been a while since I've done a new musical. In fact, I just did a new musical for the first time last season since Newsies 13 now years ago. Yeah. And I was like, why do all these kids know who I am? Like, how? I haven't been on TV in a few years. Like, I haven't done anything new. Oh, it's because of Newsies. Mm-hmm. And they're all doing Newsies at their schools, and like all the young theater kids. And so I just couldn't be more grateful for it in my life.
Oh my gosh. And so, well, we're turning back a little bit. Your first TV show was the TV show Smash. Best part about being on Smash and the worst part about being on Smash.
The best part was that my grandma could watch me without having to come all the way to New York. I mean, she was more annoying about it than that, but yes, very all. And also, I made some really great friends that I still have to this day doing that show. But it was a tricky environment. I mean, starting out, we were kind of like the show. My character was like the show was like the second show, the rival show, and it was kind of that energy on set of like, how much screen time are these new young people taking away from the bombshell story? And so we kind of like all banded together into our little shell. But then like about halfway through the season, the show premiered and the ratings just tanked. And so they cut a lot of our funding, and we still finished the season, but it was just this weird, strange energy. But it was good for me because like it was a great transition from stage to film, and I really wanted to do more film stuff. And I had felt so comfortable on stage at that point that like it was a good transition because I got to sing and I got to sort of do stagey things, but while also sort of learning the ins and outs of being on a set every day for, a year.
Yeah. And that's really how we ended up becoming friends too, because along with your castmates, we ended up doing a live version of Hit List, which was the musical within a musical.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's...
Somehow you got that gig.
I got that gig, I know.
How did you get that gig?
Jen Tepper thought I would to be a good fit for it, because I would always, people, we talked about this, people would kind of hate watch Smash, they would tweet and say mean things. And I would be like, don't let me know it's the best song that's not on Broadway this season.
Yes.
And so Jen Tepper was like, that one, you can do
yes.
it.
The one.
The one, and so that is how we became friends, and and so to this day, you are very close with so many of those cast members.
Yeah.
Krista Rodriguez, one of his castmates, designed his dressing room at The Great Gatsby.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I love it. Let's see. So you were getting comfortable with film and TV at that point, and so your next project, summer 2013, you filmed the adaptation of The Last 5 Years with Anna Kendrick, the movie. Any favorite memories of filming that?
Well, I mean, The Last 5 Years was like one of my all-time favorite dream roles. And when I was in college, it was just sort of finishing up off Broadway, and so we all sang all the songs in our little rehearsal rooms, and it was the sort of joke was that if like you could get through one of those songs, because they're all mammoth, monstrous like feats of theater. If you could like sort of get through one of the songs and sing it well, like you were ready to go to New York and be on Broadway. And when it sort of came my way, they tried out a lot of the A-listers and the B-listers and the C-listers, and then they finally got to us lowly Broadway folk. And I was like, pick me! I think I auditioned 4 times, and each time I had to sing a new 7-minute song from the show. I was like, I can do it! But one of the fun lessons that I learned was to sort of advocate for myself. Is that I after the last audition, I was like, what else can I do? Like, how can I show this director that like it's mine? I wrote him a letter. It was email, but yeah, I just sort of laid out like why I should get the job, and I've never done that since. But it worked, or maybe it didn't work. Maybe he was already going to give it to me, but I got the part.
Maybe he never read it. We don't know.
It was a weird, strange, empowering moment. But filming it was also really beautiful, and we got to sort of recreate a lot of these moments that are meant to be just solos on stage, but together with these 2 characters and with other people, and it was a really collaborative process. Yeah. So like, I feel like I really had a hand in creating these scenes and environments, and it was such a guerrilla process too. Like, I mean, we shot it in less than 3 weeks, and a lot of the scenes were like on location, and we had to get in, get out, and somehow get all this footage at the same time. Yeah. And, we didn't get all the footage that we wanted a lot of the time, but we still made it work.
Yeah, I think it's a great film.
Yeah.
I think you should all stream it. It's excellent.
There's one part that I really hate where I'm like making stupid faces, but otherwise I like it. It's like I was like, why did you keep that? How would you keep that face in the movie?
Where is it? What sequence?
I don't know. I'm FaceTiming with Anna at one
Oh,
point.
yes, I do know what that is, yes.
I think it's somewhere in Ohio.
Somewhere in Ohio, mm-hmm.
Ugh.
It's actually, those are very cute takes. Well, I like it, he just doesn't, that's fine. Okay, so then your next TV gig was Supergirl, where you were Windshot. And that's a really big platform, and that is a whole different universe. Were there any moments you were like, oh my God, I'm doing a superhero show right now, that's crazy?
I mean, it was a dream come true for me. Like, I was hoping to actually be a superhero, but I was best friends with a superhero, which was close enough. I mean, I was a big comic nerd growing up and loved superheroes, and so in that regard, like, it was like a total dream come true. I got to be a regular on a TV show where I didn't sing, which was like a big goal of mine at the time.
Except for like twice.
It was a big goal of mine to like sort of be accepted as a regular actor and not just the guy that sings. Of course, as Ben mentioned, like they eventually figured out like, oh, we should probably make him sing at one point, so they did.
And Melissa was on Glee too, you know.
Yeah.
We love her.
Fun fact is I turned down Glee to do Supergirl. It was good, that character was on like 3 episodes.
Oh my God, what character was it? This tea drop?
No, not Supergirl, to do Smash, sorry.
Oh, to do Smash. But what character was it?
It was Leah Michelle's boyfriend in college.
Oh my God, the Australian! I had somebody audition against you for that. I wrote them a whole mashup. That's so
I didn't even audition.
You guys, that's a real tea drop right there. I didn't even know that. Woo!
I never saw it. I'm assuming there was only one of them, but maybe she had multiple boyfriends.
No, I can picture the boyfriend. We all know. He kind of looks like a model. It was they sang it like Marie's Crisis. Wow. Okay. So.
Did you not know that?
No. I'm shook. So wait, while all this is happening, I could go on for Supergirl, but I want to get to this.
Got it.
While that was happening, you were cast as the voice of Varian in Tangled, the series. So,
Indeed.
it was your first but not your last job of animation.
Yeah.
So was there an audition process for that?
Yeah. When I was in LA shooting the first season of Supergirl, I just went in. I'd never gone in for a voiceover role before, and obviously it was a Disney animation thing. I was like, my other dream in life is to be an animated Disney character, obviously, because we all grew up doing that, and they, they really liked what I had to bring to the table. When I started Supergirl in the first season, they were very, very, very strict about the script and about us infusing any personality into the lines.
Meaning they didn't want any.
They didn't want any. So it was like, do the thing, and like, if it's funny, great. If not, we don't care. And I kept trying to like infuse my own stuff, and I just kept getting like pulled back. And so I was feeling very sort of creatively, stifled in that period. And so when I went in and I just like made some wild, bold choices, they're like, that's really great, we like that. And then they cast me, and then I did the real recording, and they kept all of it. And I remember coming back like 6 months later to do some redubs. And when I did that, they had like a very rough animatic of the character, and it was the first time I got to see anything more than just a picture. And they had kept all of these really strange, crazy choices that I had made, and I just started sobbing in the vocal booth. I was like, oh God, I made a Disney character, and they did all the things that I did, and now it's a thing, and it's a guy, and he's on there. It was just like, it was full circle for me.
And it is so funny, that is very Disney. It's like anytime they'll do the last season, they're like, just do a wacky one just for fun. And so often that is the one that makes it in. They're like, just be free.
Well, all my takes are wacky, let's just be honest. They have to pull me back.
We love that for you. Did you have any favorite moments recording for the show? Was it the songs? Did you get to sing with anybody special? Were there any moments?
Well, I got to sing in the season 3 or season 2. See, I wasn't in season 2, which we can talk about the debacle about that. But I'm just kidding. I don't know why. I was in jail, apparently.
You know, classic Jeremy Jordan. Right, he was a villain, he was supposed to be in one season, and then everybody was like, but where'd Jeremy Jordan go? So then they wrote him back in.
We have to redeem him.
Bring him back.
So in season 3, I sang a duet with Eden. And
Eden Espinosa.
Yeah, which got nominated for an Emmy, that song did. And we sang it together in a vocal booth, and Glenn was there, the lyricist. And it was really special, and was really fun, and just a lot of that. Sadly, when you do animation, like especially since I'm in New York and most animation people are in LA, like I don't get to see anybody. You zoom in with the director and the voice director, and maybe you see someone on occasion, but like you're not reading your scenes with anybody. You're just doing it all in a vacuum, and then they throw it all together later on. At least in my experience. So any sort of time that I could get with people was always really lovely.
No, correct. Animation's bonkers because like anytime you're recording, like Ariana, she was never doing her scenes with people. They'd have someone reading sometimes, but it was really just she would do 800 versions of a line reading, and then when they're piecing it together with the other actors, they just pick what version of the scene goes together.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's its own editing artistry. Oh my goodness. Okay, in the timeline of life, towards the end of Ashley's pregnancy, because when she left Supergirl, the big thing was they wanted to have a family, and it did happen pretty quick, which was cool.
Yeah.
But while she was pregnant, you did a run as Dr. Palmater and Waitress.
I did.
A show where the central character gets pregnant and has a baby. And I do remember it was a Friday show, and you said, we're going to the hospital, we're not in the show, I think she's ready. And so, I trekked down, it was Friday night, and we went off to the hospital, and it all happened. But what was it like doing a show about pregnancy and having a baby while you and your wife were doing the whole thing?
Well, it was Saturday, actually, because I did the show Friday night, and they thought they were going to go, and then Saturday, I was going to do the matinee, and then I didn't. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. You're right because we had a false alarm on Friday.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It was wild because I remember before she had the kid, at the end of the show, the character in Waitress has a baby, and it's just a really beautiful moment she has with her kid, and I would stand off stage sobbing every show before curtain call because I was like, it's gonna happen, it's gonna be that. And then we had the baby, and it was beautiful, and Ben was there because he obviously doesn't want to miss out on anything.
Yeah.
Such fun. Just so, no, I'm just kidding. I love it. He was so wonderful and helpful. And then I remember going back to the show like a week later because I took a week off. And I was like, wow, I'm going to get to the end of the show, and this has already happened to me, and I'm just going to be, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be a wreck. And it happened, and I felt nothing. I was like, what's happened to me? Have I lost all emotional compassion? And then I realized, oh, I witnessed what happened in real life. She's totally faking it. And I have something real at home. It was so bizarre to be like, oh, once it happened, it was like a completely different vibe.
But oh my gosh, and the kid, she was born Easter Sunday, now that I'm thinking about it, right? Because I remember like there was like a few hours while we were waiting for the contractions to get quicker, and we were like, maybe her name should be Cadbury, or...
How dare you?
I mean, it was me, I was
no,
me,
No.
How about Marshmallow Pete? No, instead she has a fully normal name.
Please, no Easter references in my child's name that she's carrying with her for the rest of her life.
Yeah, fair. Gosh, okay, so around that chapter of your life, I think it might have been COVID-y times, you were cast as a voice in Has-Been Hotel as Lucifer.
Yeah.
And that ended up really blowing up, but what was the timeline like for that? And I feel like when you got it, it was a really small project, right?
Yeah, it was like this, the creator, Vivian, she created this show that was on YouTube, and it was like a big sort of like viral hit in a very small sort of animation community. And they're like, we're gonna turn it into a TV show, and it hadn't been bought by anybody. It was, at that point, I think it was not even bought by A24 before it went to Amazon. And so it was, when I got the call, I was like, oh, this will be fun. I get to sing, and I get to sort of turn the Lucifer, who's the Prince of Hell, like on its head and make him like a silly, goofy, like showman, and super weird and nuanced and introverted. And so I did it, and I recorded it in like maybe 2 days while I was in the middle of recording, in the middle of doing Little Shop of Horrors. Okay. So it was during COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember because Christian Borle was also in it, and we were next to each other. I was like, did I just see you leaving? He was like, yeah, I did this thing called Has-Been. I was like, yeah, interesting. 3 years later, it like premiered about a year ago, just now, almost a year ago to the day, and it's this huge, massive success. And it just goes to show, like, this little thing that I had completely forgotten about, like, can completely turn a new page in your in your life, and I just got nominated for an award for it. So the Annie Awards it's like an animation award.
Yeah.
There's like 800 submissions, and I got a nomination. It's very cool.
I love it.
And
You're a delightful weirdo in it.
so strange. So many ducks.
I love it.
I
Well-
have so many ducks. Somebody gave me a duck today.
It's true.
I get ducks all the time because my character.
Yeah, I went
obsessed
into his
with rubber
dressing room the
ducks.
other day and I was like, oh, the ducks are, yes.
Oh, and that is a very small portion of the ducks that I receive.
We love. Well, speaking of your dressing room, so let's talk about The Great Gatsby. All right. And earlier I said it was 19 days ago. What's up?
She's giving me more water.
Oh, great.
Yes.
I was like, I'm staring at the clock, I promise.
Thank you, Allie.
And I realized it's 9 days ago you finished your run there. So when did your involvement developing the show begin?
It started in December of 2023. Two. What is
I mean,
time?
I was asking the question.
What is time? I got a call because my friend Jason wrote the music, and I knew the writers, and they wanted me to do just a small workshop reading of it, and I was like, what else do I gotta do? And so I showed up, and I did about a week there was 2 weeks. I did 1 week, and then I got COVID, and then I was like, well, there goes my chances of ever doing that show. But then they got picked up to go to Paper Mill, which is in Jersey.
And it's where Newsies began.
Out of town, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a very full circle moment for me, and we did the show last fall, right?
Yeah, it would have been fall 2023. It would have been like
What
at
is
Paper
time?
Mill.
Yes,
And
fall
then-
2023, and it was really great. I mean, it was the first time that I got to originate a show in, at that point, 12 years since Newsies, and I just forgot what it was like to be able to sort of create something from scratch. I mean, albeit with source material, and it was the first time that I had ever really felt like completely trusted by a creative team and a group of actors. Like, as an actor, a lot of times you're just like, am I doing it right? Am I doing a good job? Please say yes. Please say that's great. Tell me what to do. Like, we're very masochistic in that way. But I sort of walked in and was like, I know what this is. I know what to do. I have ideas, and I was being heard, and helping create this thing from the ground up. And so it was really a special experience. And we were one of 23 shows that opened that year, new musicals or revivals, and
Wow.
the chances of us of sort of having the reach that we have had, and the fan love and outpouring of support was so minuscule, and the fact that we're still going stronger than ever is really kind of wonderful, and I'm really proud of being a part of that and helping shape that.
Yeah, making a big hit, baby. It's still
Yeah.
running. What are you most excited about with your next Broadway show, Floyd Collins?
Ah, yes, Floyd Collins. Couldn't be any different than The Great Gatsby, but Floyd Collins, for those of you who don't know, is about a caver in the 1920s, literally the exact same time, but in Kentucky, who gets trapped in like 150 feet underground, and they have to try to pull him out. And what happens is, above ground is the first ever media circus in the country. He's trapped down there for like 2 weeks, and all around him, these reporters and sightseers and thrill seekers and rubberneckers from all over the country and all over the world show up, and they literally build a carnival around him, waiting for him to come out. And so there's like this sort of tragic dichotomy of this lonely guy being stuck down there, and the whole world watching from above that he's not even aware of. And the music is gorgeous. I can't wait to sing it. It's totally different. There's a lot of yodeling, but not like Swiss Alp yodeling, like country, yeah, yodeling. And it's a great cast, and I get to sit prone on stage for about 2 hours like this.
Yeah.
So we'll
And
see.
you guys are young. Lizzie McAlpine is in the show.
Oh, yeah. She's wonderful.
I see you, Jency. I see you.
So we're very excited to bring that.
Yeah, I can't
to
wait to
everybody.
see it. Oh my gosh. So at this point, you graduated from college 17 and a half years ago.
Oh.
But what do you think 22-year-old Jeremy would think of the career you've had now and where you've gotten to?
Was it really that long ago?
Yeah.
God. I think he would be very proud. I was always very, at least by the time I graduated college, I was pretty confident that I was going to be able to do what I wanted to do, which was be on Broadway. I didn't really have any aspirations to be in film, television, or animation, or voiceover, or be this, do concerts all over the place, or be any sort of iconic human being in any form. So I think I have gone above and beyond.
Don't sleep on that. He just finally admitted he's iconic.
I
love this for you. I love this for you.
No. To a very niche group. So yeah, it's kind of wild. I think that I would have believed that it could happen, but it's been really wild, and it's been wild to see you or Ashley, my wife, who's known me longer than you, and her family, who we've been with the past few days, and seeing them who know me before all that. And that's who I still see myself as. So it's I still have a lot of trouble when I'm out in public and somebody comes up to me and it's oh my God, I'm just a guy, I get really shy. I'm like Ben said, I can be very introverted. So I'm still working on that. But at the same time, I don't want to be like other people who have that kind of star. Who are just yes, I know. Yes, I know. Come to me, let's do this and this. That's not me. I'd rather still be shy and be a little bit awkward and be down, have hunched shoulders and be okay, yes, hi. Because that feels authentic to me. Sure. And if there's one thing that I try to tell people is to be authentic to yourself and to try to be exactly who you are no matter what, and don't let anybody try to tell you you have to be any certain way, because that's served me really well in my life. And when I sort of discovered that and figured that out, that's when things sort of took the turn for the better for me.
Yeah, I know that's what I was going to ask, any piece of advice for 22-year-olds?
Yeah, I'll just build on that, which is that if I was 22, or you probably are all around that same age, is I wish that I had known, figure out the one or two things that you're really good at. We're all good at something. We all bring something to the table. Whatever that is, you might think, oh, I'm already good at that. I gotta get good at other things. Yes, but get incredibly good at the things that you do and incredibly confident in who you are. This is the time where we figure out who we are really, because we're among people and peers that are all figuring out the same thing. So figure that out, understand who makes up you, and then present that person with confidence, not only to a group setting or a room that you walk in for a job interview, but to yourself in the mirror, and be okay with that, because that's who you are and it's never gonna change. You're gonna grow, you're gonna develop, you're gonna mature, all that sort of thing, but who you are at your core, it's just what it is. And so the more confident and the more you can embrace that, and the more you can bring that with you everywhere you go, the more successful you're going to be. And on top of that, there are traits or things that you do well, really accentuate them. Be the best at those things, or as best as you can be. And if you sort of do those two things, I think you will find success much more quickly, and you will find happiness a lot more quickly amongst your peers and with yourself, because you can't really find success or happiness in a real way, even if you're a big TV star, if you're not happy with yourself. So, there you go.
I love it. Great advice.
Thanks.
Well,
are we going to sing songs now?
I think we're going to sing some songs together. This first one is the first song you ever sung on television.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Allie, why'd you bring me water? Now I have to pee. It's fine. We'll make it through.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Here we go.
high above the city. I'm standing on the ledge. The view from here is pretty, and I step off the edge. And now I'm falling, baby, through the sky, I'm falling, baby, through the sky. It's my calling, baby, don't you cry, I'm falling down through the sky to the street that I'm from. Oh, Broadway, here I come. Broadway, here I come. The pressure, it increases the closer that I get. I could almost go to pieces, but I'm not quite there yet. See, I've been brave in crazy weather, drowning out my cries. I pull myself together, I'm focused on the prize. I'm falling, baby, through the sky, I'm falling, baby, through the sky. It's my calling, baby, don't you cry, I'm falling down through the sky. Well, it's a tune you can hum. Oh, Broadway, here I come. Will I remain the same, or will I change a little bit? Will I feel broken or totally complete? Will I retain my name when I'm the biggest, hugest hit? Or will I blend in with the rest of the street? The people all are pointing. I bet they'd never guess that the saint that they're anointing is frightened of the miss. But even though I fear it, I'm playing all my cards. Baby, you are gonna hear it when I give them my regards. I'm falling, baby, through the sky, I'm falling, baby, through the sky. It's my calling, baby, don't you cry, I'm falling down through the sky, and I refuse to go numb. Oh, Broadway, here I come. Broadway, here I come. Broadway, here I come. Broadway, Broadway, here I come. Here I come. And the last thing I hear as the impact rolls near, is it a scream or a cheer? Well, never mind, I'll never find out, 'cause Broadway, I am here. Thank you. All right, I guess I'll do one more song for you. Cold Water. You singers know. Huh?
Is that one cold though?
It's fine. I already drank it. Okay, so obviously I'm gonna sing Santa Fe from Newsies. That's fine. Santa Fe. All right, all right, whatever. I've never actually been there. I think it's better
Correct.
that I didn't ever go there.
Correct. You can't sing the song if you've been there.
I know. It's all about like wanting to go someplace you've never been that like is magical in your brain. If I go there, I'm like, really? What am I gonna do? It's like I just keep acting, I guess. But before I sing it, there's one thing I just want to leave you all with, which is Santa Fe is like one of those songs that is kind of universal. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are in your life; it can apply to you. And for me, it's really special. It's a song about hope. It's a song about sort of reaching for something that is possible but feels impossible. And I think we all have those things in our lives. And so before I sing the song, I want you all, if you feel so inclined, to think of something in your life that, or someplace in your life that you'd like to be. Whether it's just a step that you want to take in your career, whether it's something to do with a relationship with somebody else, and something that you've kind of been holding yourself back with for whatever reason, and see if this song sort of like takes you that next step. It can be, a job that you wanted to strive for. It could be forgiving someone. It could be telling someone you love them for the first time, or for the first time in a long time. It could be anything like that. So just have a moment, think about that, and then hopefully by the end of the song, we'll feel a little bit more empowered to actually take that step. I have to do this in a New York accent. I just can't do that. They say folks is dying to get here. Me, I'm dying to get away to a little town out west that's spanking new. And while I ain't never been there, I can see it clear as day. If you want, I'll bet you could see it too. Close your eyes, come with me, where it's clean and green and pretty, and they went and made a city out of clay. Why, the minute that you get there, folks will walk right up and say, welcome home, son, welcome home to Santa Fe. Planting crops, splitting rails, swapping tales around the fire, except for Sunday when you lie around all day. Soon your friends are more like family, and they's begging you to stay. That neat, living sweet in Santa Fe. Where does it say you gotta live and die here? Where does it say a guy can't catch a break? Why should you only take what you're given? Why should you spend your whole life living trapped where there ain't no future? And even at 17, and breaking your back for someone else's sake. If the life don't seem to suit ya, how about a change of scene? Far from the lousy headlines and the deadlines in between. That's all I seem inclined to do. I ain't getting any younger, and I want to start brand new. I need space and fresh air. Let them laugh in my face, I don't care. Save my place. I'll be there. Just be real, is all I'm asking. Not some painting in my head. 'Cause I'm dead if I can't count on you today. I got nothing if I ain't got Santa Fe.
you later. Great job. Okay, we went to Santa Fe, right? We went to Santa Fe. Jeremy took us there. He brought us back. And it was just a whole journey that I'm beaming about it.
Like, I'm a big fan of like Hazbin Hotel and the Tangled series, which he's great in, and seeing also him like Superman back when I was like a teenager was like super cool. So like actually seeing him here performing was just so great, and hearing his whole life story and everything.
It was absolutely incredible. I managed to get videos. It's gonna be amazing to look back on. It was amazing to experience. I think very inspirational.
I just saw Jeremy Jordan. My 16-year-old self is screaming and crying, and I tried so hard not to tear up because I get embarrassed when I cry because I'm an ugly crier. He's just so amazing, and his voice is just so insane, and he's just so inspiring.
I altered my brain.
I just sat there like,
I couldn't believe it was like happening.
Was
I was
so
like, the amount of times that I've cried to this song in my car, and she's just right
It's
here.
right there,
It's
there in front of us.
Like,
it's crazy.
Emotional. It was what he said before he performed Santa Fe. He was saying, think about something that you want in life. And I feel like when you're doing a program like this, everyone has ambitions and dreams and goals and is so hopeful and optimistic for the future. But it can be hard doing a program. There are tough times. So hearing him saying something like that and singing such an inspirational song that was from the heart, and his words just meant so much.
He's probably the first celebrity I've ever met in my life. I've seen everything he's in. He has such a journey of, like you said, inspiration and hope, and to be able to see him in person, sit in the front row, and to hear that I'm not alone and I'm going through the same things that several other people are, and he did go through those things and he got through them and is still going through them. Like, that is just, I don't even have the words. It's amazing.
I'm a musical theater major, and honestly, Newsies and Jeremy Jordan was a big part of like that decision. He means a lot to me. I met my best friend at a Jeremy Jordan concert in high school.
it was a dream come true. This is my last week of my program, and this was like the best way to end my program.
That's somebody that I've looked up to for a while, and Newsies has been such an awesome show and a dream show of mine. Seeing him in person, in the same room, performing Santa Fe, it took my breath away.
Working at Disney, I see like guests have magical moments all the time, and so this kind of felt like a really magical Disney moment for me. When Newsies came out as a Broadway show, and then when it came out on Disney, it was like, that was my whole childhood, you know. I would open up the DVD player in the car, and then I had Disney Plus, and it was just like a moment of like all the me's I've ever been. It was just full circle, full of nostalgia and empowerment.
And I appreciate him. If he ever sees this somehow, some way, I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We love getting to see you all, getting to make a little music for you all, and I hope you have the best time with the rest of your program.